Welcome to Web3 and Me, presented by FLOLiO. On today's show, I am joined by the one and only Kevin Shannon. We're going to take a little bit of a detour, talk more crypto, talk a little bit more about the macroeconomic environment from two guys who kind of sort of understand it, Kevin better than me. We want to discuss how that's going to relate to crypto prices, which in turn, how that is going to impact our precious JPEGs. Before we get into that, please like today's show, subscribe to our channel, and most importantly, head to FLOLiO.com for all of your NFT portfolio management needs. Nothing we say today is financial advice. For the love of God, please do your own research before making any buying and selling decisions. That being said, Kevin, how are we doing today? How are the markets treating you right now?
Doing great. I'm actually loving how the markets are. It's been a fun few days ever since the employment data came out, but just have fun with it.
Yeah, it's been quite the week. We'll start with NFT trading volume. It was just dead to start the week. We'll look back at the weekend, and we were down like under 10 million a day. We had a couple days in the 8 to 9 million range. Yesterday, things popped back up a bit because my suspicion is that people were waiting for the CPI data yesterday, seeing how crypto would respond. Initially went down, bounced back. I think that kind of gave a little bit of confidence that, a lot of the fear is already priced into the current ETH, value. So I think that kind of got a little bit of volume back. I think another thing that got volume back up, and I'll pull up the FLOLiO chart right here. But, we saw the news around Yuga Labs and the investigation by the SEC, which this has been known for a while. But if we look, a lot of Bored Ape Yacht Club, Other Side, Mutant Ape Yacht Club, near the top for volume, but floor prices down because there was just so much panic selling. So many wrapped ETH offers got accepted, which I think helped make the overall market numbers look better than they actually are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we'll start macro a little bit, kind of talk about where you think things are, because I know that's an area that you focus a lot on, more than Dan and I normally do. So, how are you viewing the current state of the market? And as someone who I know is very active in crypto, what is your kind of game plan at the moment?
Market right now is, I don't think anyone can deny that it looks really bad. And, as these rates increases from the Fed, and we're going to get another one November 2nd, it's just going to cause unemployment to, soon rise. And if people are unemployed, they're going to pull out credit or use their debt from credit cards and stuff like that. Rates are going to increase. So it's just one huge bubble that I think is going to pop sometime next year. And it's not going to be pretty. I think it's going to lead into a pretty bad recession. However, that's also where there's tons of opportunity. So right now I'm just trading just the ranges, but pretty soon I'm just going to stay in cash. For some reason, the DXY is just killing it right now, and it's probably the safest bet in my opinion for me personally.
Yeah, we already are seeing, I think the US has something along the lines of 31 trillion in consumer debt at the moment, which is the highest in history already. That's not great. So, as someone who is not carrying any credit card debt, I feel like I don't care what's in the bank account, but I don't got a lot of debt at the moment. So I'm going to take that as a huge win, which, at this point, it's about survival over the next, could be anywhere from 18 to 48 months. Who the hell knows? But
definitely,
right now it is I think there's a long period of, people having more money, people having high credit limits, and this is going beyond NFTs, but having a budget and staying within that budget. And if you got to have a side hustle, maybe for a little bit, we can brainstorm unique ways to make money. I don't know, selling feet pics or something along those lines, but whatever you got to do to survive right now, which, it's also a time where there's going to be, like you said, a tremendous amount of opportunity. It's easy to see obviously your account's going to go up when, the market is doing well. But if you can not worry about, the dollar value of your account, but look at increasing the, crypto asset part of your account, that's kind of where my focus is right now.
Oh yeah,
He's
100%.
like, I want to set myself up for 5 years from now, 10 years from now, whatever that may be. So we saw that. We've seen, BTC and ETH over the last week. They're actually pretty flat if you look at, the 5-day. Pretty flat right there. We've seen some heavy swings. But I think, what's good? Strictly sports. Everything is good right now, man. It's all a matter of perspective, right? We've seen those kind of move up and down. Do you trade any other tokens besides? I know you're big into Bitcoin.
Yeah, I really do like Bitcoin just because on Binance there's like no trading fees. So I mean, it's not too bad if you can just take some profit, especially in this market. Keep your long short, your shorts long. But I do like some other coins, like Cardano is one I'm super bullish on. Chainlink I think is probably the most undervalued token at the moment. I think that in the next bull run, Chainlink's going to take off, especially with staking coming out in December.
Can you give just a brief little synopsis of Chainlink and why you're so bullish on it? Because as someone who's only been around crypto for a couple of years, I know there are a ton of people who are very big believers in Chainlink, and I would just love to learn a little bit more about that.
Well, Chainlink's an Oracle system for crypto, which there's going to be huge in bridging the gaps between different blockchains. But the number one thing for me is more price analysis. In the last bull market, Chainlink went from, I think it was like a few bucks to like $54 at some point, and it just went into the bear market before any other token. And all they've been doing this entire time is building and working towards getting staking. And arguably, it's pretty low cap. It's in terms of circulating supply of tokens. So there's a good chance that if you get it now, there's could easily shoot up the next one to like what ETH did in the last one. Not saying it's going to go to thousands or anything like that, but definitely in the hundreds. That's my personal opinion.
Everyone watching, Kevin Shan just said, put all your money in Chainlink because it's going to go to thousands of dollars. I'm kidding.
It's definitely an undervalued opinion.
Yeah, I did know about staking coming, which is always, interesting. I think a lot of people got burned by staking in this last bull run with stuff like Ohm and some of these, Wonderland and all these other Ponzi's. But
yeah,
Chainlink does not seem like a Ponzi to me.
No. Chainlink is very similar in way to Cardano, where it's, peer reviewed. They've just been putting in a ton of work this entire time. It's nothing like, Wonderland was on AVAX, right? Avalanche.
I don't remember.
Yeah, it ended up being like one of the guys who did Quadriga, that entire Ponzi scheme in Canada.
Yeah. I just watched a documentary on Netflix about that. I don't know if you've seen that one or if you've seen the one about GameStop. That was pretty interesting. Yeah, that was interesting too. That was like right when I was getting into crypto, so it's kind of like interesting to relive that period of time when all that shit was going down.
Yeah.
So, okay, we've talked about kind of the macro outlook. Interest rates are going to go up. They're going to, eventually they're going to stop raising them, but they're not necessarily going to be lowering them anytime soon. They got to keep them high for a while. So we can expect, I don't think you need to be in a rush to be buying into, to crypto if you aren't positioned. I personally, like, my current strategy is I am dollar cost averaging in. I have my recurring buys set up in one crypto wallet that I'm barely looking at, just to make sure that, I get the, confirmation emails that the buy happened. Great. And then other than that, I'm trying to do a little bit with JPEGs just to, take profits here and there and just, take that profit, put it into that same wallet that I don't really check and just like let that grow because, I think there still is money to be made in the NFT market, not hand over fist like there was a year ago. But if you're paying attention and you're willing to take small profits here and there, like not the days of getting 10 and 100 X's on everything are long gone. So if you can kind of change your strategy, be willing to flip some stuff, not worry if you don't sell the top, but just like skim those profits, move them into a different wallet so you're not tempted to spend it somewhere else. I think that is still a decent strategy until, because there's a lot of inexperienced traders still in the NFT market. I think people who get a little too greedy, who are still FOMO buying, who are still panic selling, there's still opportunities out there for sure.
Definitely. Yeah, there's always
Yeah.
money to be made, whether you're in a bear market or a bull market. It's just about being smart and taking profit when the time's right.
Yeah, having patience and a game plan is very important right now. So we talked about NFT volume as well. It's been pretty low. Let's get into some of the news. The big news of the week was the article that came out, I believe, from Bloomberg, that the SEC is looking into Yuga Labs. Like I said at the top, this was news to a lot of people, but I think many of us who have our ear to the ground in the NFT market knew about this a while ago. Like, they didn't just launch. The news came out Tuesday. They didn't launch the investigation Tuesday. It's been going on for months. And, we saw the price. I'll pull up the ApeCoin chart because it was pretty. I'll pull up the 5-day, and you can tell me when you think the news came out.
Probably be like the Squid Game token just straight down.
It went to 0. Ow! That's just still one of the best videos of all time. So here's the 5-day. This is when the news broke, right here. And you see that just straight line down from people panicking. And, we've seen it go down with everything else also. Now, for me, I did not sell, like, my current holdings. I haven't sold any ape, since this news came out. Like, back in October, I think was when we first got news about ApeCoin, and they made it very clear then they weren't rushing it. They were working with, a very experienced legal firm that represents Coinbase that has been very involved in the world of crypto. So I'm not panicking in any way, shape, or form. Like, I think that Yuga has their ducks in a row than they do, they're just kind of flying by the seat of their pants. So of any NFT business that is going to be under investigation that will probably set precedent for the entire market, I'd say it's probably for the best that it's Yuga.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah,
I mean, Go ahead.
There's no other brand that's as big as Yuga in the NFT space. I think it's just a team that could definitely finance if there is any legal issues, and they could maybe bring clarity to the space. But yeah, that's probably the best one to go up against the SEC if they charges.
Between the the lawyers they have, the connections they have, with their backing from A16Z and all the lawyers they have too, like, it's something that I am not particularly concerned about. One thing I wonder is if we're going to see, ApeCoin staking was supposed to be happening right at the end of this month. Is that going to get pushed back? We were supposed to have other, NFT businesses releasing tokens like Gutter Cat Gang. They pushed back Gang token. Was that in anticipate, and did they know about it? Like, did they know that this news was going to break? Because they do work with Horizon Labs, who helped launch ApeCoin. Like, did they delay their token because they knew this was coming? And will this delay future tokens? I have no facts to back this up. I would say probably yes. Until there's some clarity here, I have to imagine that Gang token is delayed, that ApeCoin staking might be delayed. If we were going to get a MetaMask token, who the hell knows that's going to be delayed? Like, that's going to be even further down the line. So I think the days of getting those free airdrops like we saw late last year, early this year, are probably long gone.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I think, again, it's just waiting on clarity. Who knows those? So they might just be like, forget about it. 6 months from now. But I don't think the SEC gives up that easily. So this could go on for some time.
Yeah, and I don't think this is going to kill Yuga Labs. Like, the SEC, they don't want to destroy the business because then they can't tax it, right? Like, the government can't tax it if it doesn't exist. So I think they'll probably slap a fine on Yuga. They'll probably implement even more, stricter regulations, which this industry needs regulations. With all the bad actors out there, it has to happen. Like, this wasn't going to be the Wild West forever. So, I think short term, it's going to be annoying because it's going to delay a lot of stuff, but long term, it's for the best. I don't know if you were paying attention on Twitter last weekend, but this kind of segues into DeGods as well. Frank from DeGods had that very cryptic tweet of his that was deleted about, I got off a call, and then it got copy pasted. Him saying he got off a call with someone, got some news. It's going to lead to some short-term pain, but long-term is for the best. I'm guessing that he knew that this story was going to break.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
Timing probably.
So,
go ahead.
And on that point, like, let's get into DeGods a little bit. I don't know if you pay too much attention to, the NFTs on Solana, but Dust Labs announced last week that they are going to 0% royalties. This was announced Sunday. So now on Magic Eden, DeGods have a 0% royalty. The Mint Tubes have a 0% royalty. Where do you stand on the 0% royalty debate that has been raging for a while now?
I mean, I guess it's pretty cool if a company does that, because it shows that they're maybe not in it for, just pumping and dumping, just leaving the space. But at the same time, it's like, how are they going to continue to make money? Like, to generate something like, say, what Yuga's done, how they've built, a company that big. So that either way, it really depends. I think that it's great for people who are, trading, because they're not going to lose like fees trading, like making small gains. But I don't know. I really don't have too much of an opinion on it. I think it's pretty cool though.
Yeah. So it was weird because within the last month and a half, like Frank came out and was like, we're not going to 0% royalties. We need to have that revenue to make money. And then this was, kind of out of the blue, the tune changed. Obviously, things come to light. People change their opinion. I thought that was kind of weird. For me, from my understanding, DeGods and Dust Labs in particular, they raised their $7 million. They didn't sell the DeGods IP. They, I think they sold like 10% equity, that money, that $7 million, half of it was in equity, half of it was in the Dust token. And there's a pretty strict vesting, conservative vesting schedule on that. My understanding is that they're trying to build a B2B SaaS business.
Okay.
So I think that's where their long-term revenue model is coming from. I don't think they were ever going to be focusing on secondary markets as a revenue stream. So they may be having some other things in the work, which also is probably why they wanted to hold on to their IP. Okay. But, I think it's kind of a, leave it up to each project. I know that it's not truly enforceable, like X2, Y2, they're able to get around it. And some projects have written into their smart contract that something can't be sold on X2, Y2, like the QQL Mint Pass from Tyler Hobbs. He had it in the contract that you couldn't buy or sell these on X2, Y2 because it was able to skirt the creator royalties. So I think there's definitely there's also a distinction between secondary royalties for artists who are doing a lot of one-of-ones or limited editions versus, a 10K PFP project.
Oh, definitely. I think the royalties is pretty much a given when it comes to these one-of-one individual artists. You could sell something, say, for 2 ETH, and then 10 years from now, it's worth 100. So it's some percentage of that later on is pretty nice.
And that's a major selling point for why artists should be getting into creating NFTs as opposed to physical art, because there is that very easy, royalty structure, that ability to track the sales. If we're removing that, then what's the incentive for, traditional artists to get into digital art? It doesn't make any sense. It continues to devalue the work that they're putting in, which I think is ridiculous. So I think there needs to be some sort of distinction, and leaving it up to the individual projects and creators like we have been, I think, is probably the best thing. If people trade less of it because there's a royalty, so be it. The people who still like it are still going to be involved.
Yeah, good point.
So we had a little bit more new. We talked about Clone X yesterday or last week. Dan and I did, and then an hour later they released some more stuff. So they seem to be full steam ahead in Q4 of this year. Last Friday afternoon, they announced Project Animus, which I'll pull up the trailer real quick because it was pretty cool. A little bit of controversy. We'll get to that in a second. But Project Animus is going to be from Clone X. There's going to be an egg drop. Not quite like the soup, which I'm a big fan of myself. Bad dad joke right there. But it's going to be some sort of egg that is hatched. I don't know what exactly is going to come from said egg. But if we'll watch this trailer real quick, turn the volume down a little bit. Here we go. We got a Clone X in front. I don't know who the hell this guy is. Of all the Clone X stuff I've never seen some what looks like a shark with wings, or like with a vest that has wings on it. That's pretty wild looking. So, we got this odd couple right here, and then this little guy who looks remarkably like a Coda from Other Side. Been a lot of discussion around that, whether they stole the art, whether that is a collaboration with Yuga. Personally, don't think they stole the art. I mean, how over the years between Pokemon and Digimon and all the other little monsters have we seen creatures that look like that? I mean,
I was about to say, it just reminded me so much of like 90s Digimon Pokemon episodes.
Yeah, it's like, I think anyone saying, "Oh, Artifact stole it," it's like, shut up. They didn't steal it. Like, these things happen. It's a little creature. He doesn't have any hands. That's kind of weird. But here we go. Now he's coming with them. He's pretty cute. He's a fun little guy skipping along. They're in a research facility, and they come to this room that has a shit ton of eggs in it. So what we know at this point is that there's going to be like a snapshot for Clone X holders. There's going to be the egg drop in November. Those will go on on secondary, and then in 2023 at some point, Project Animus begins. I don't know if this is like some sort of open world exploration where you have to hatch your eggs and take them on quests or whatever. I think there's probably going to be some form of like questing involved, because we've seen that from Artifact with the opening of their monoliths, and some of those are going on currently. If we pull up the chart on Clone X, you can see also on here very specifically, from a floor price standpoint, when the video came out, because there was another pretty good leg up on these last week. So let me pull that up real quick. Floor price up. Initial thoughts, after seeing that trailer, Kevin?
I thought it was pretty cool. It definitely seemed like it was made with quality. We've seen some NFT projects in the past that have done 3D animation and stuff like that, but that looked pretty good. It reminded me of like on par with like Other Side in their tech demo.
Yeah. So right here was when the trailer came out. So floor was sitting just under 8 and took a nice little bump up to about 9.2. It got to close to 9.5, and now it's settled back in the mid 8s. And I think we'll kind of see it hover there until we get additional details. So I think something to keep in mind with this, my understanding is that it will be a snapshot and then you'll claim it. So if you haven't bought one of these yet, once again, not financial advice, I would probably buy one sooner than later, because I'd hate for someone to go out, buy it, but they buy it after the snapshot is taken, and then they don't get their egg dropped. Like that would kind of suck. I'm curious where you think the secondary market, price of these eggs is going to be when they're dropped in November.
I would say I'll be really conservative. I'll say like 2 to 3 ETH. That'll be like the hype right after they drop.
Okay. So. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's a bad prediction. I kind of view it. So I want to see real quick what because I'm going to view that if it's I guess I want to know the mechanics behind it. Like, can you keep it as an egg as long as you want? And you have to do something like you have to, burn it, if you will, or crack it, or whatever the hell terminology they want to use to reveal what's inside. Because if we look at, let's go with Bored Apes versus the mutant vials. I'd say, the mutant vials are going at about 40% of what an ape is, but those are also different because you then mutate your ape, which you already know the traits for it. Whereas with the eggs, There's probably different rarities to it. I mean, I could see them trading at like 50% of what a Clone X is trading for.
Yeah.
Like I would expect to see like a 30-40% drop in the value of Clone X once the egg drops happen. You know, people are going to want to just get their money back, flip the eggs, try to get a little bit of a profit. We have seen in the past, though, that playing that game of selling after the airdrop or the claim of the secondary item is usually less beneficial than just selling it before that happens, like near the top. So this is where like game theory and experience, understanding how these mechanisms work, tend to favor the more experienced people.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
So I would, I still think that 8.4 ETH is not a bad place to buy, because we're still going to get stuff. There's still going to be utility for Clone X. There's going to be a need for those. Like I could see a temporary pullback to like 7, but if you're getting an egg for 2 to 3, and let's say there's some really cool rare ones that you can hold on to for a while, and you let the initial people break theirs, whatever. I still think there's value there. I don't know.
Maybe
it's a risk. Huh?
Maybe ETH will be like 600 a coin at that point, so it won't be that bad of a deal.
There you go. There's so much. There's so many different variables at play right now with a lot of these things, like taking my current strategy for a lot of things is seeing what NFTs I have that have maybe appreciated in ETH, but I have a loss in USD, and just selling those now, having the USD loss for next year's taxes, but the ETH gain, I think is still the right thing to be doing. Because we could absolutely, and like maybe converting that ETH, like some of that into USDC, if you think that we're going to see a pullback. We've often seen that NFTs do their best when ETH is trading sideways or slightly up or slightly down, but when it's either a full-on crash or a big rip up, NFT volume tends to stall, because there's a lot of, I don't want to put my ETH into this while the price of ETH is going up, or I don't want to put my ETH into this when the price of ETH is going down. So if you got conviction that it's going to go one way or the other, place your bets and see how they play out. All right. That is really all I had on the agenda for today. Like I said, outside of the Yuga stuff, it has been a pretty slow week overall in the NFT market. Strictly Sports asked a question earlier. I believe this was around, our dollar cost averaging, like what's your schedule? So do you have like a set schedule for when you DCA, Kevin, or are you just kind of playing these ranges that you've talked about?
So I just, like right now I'm just trading and just trying to make small profit, but I usually just do TA, like technical analysis, and then I just have price targets put in buy orders at certain levels, where I think that it can't go down at a certain percentage less than. I think the risk reward ratio is better. So I'm more like timing the market, almost not timing it, but maybe a little bit before I think where the bottom is.
Okay. Yeah, I don't do that because Kevin's smarter than me and I don't understand that stuff as well. So, my ape brain over here, I have buys set up for ETH like every day, what times. Let me send you my account info too while I'm at it. I Strictly Sports, I don't know if you're talking to Kevin about what he's looking at. I'll just say real quick, I have I have 2 buys a month on ETH and BTC, and that is just kind of what I have and will continue to do indefinitely. Just kind of a set it and forget it situation.
Nice.
Yeah, I think that's, for most people, that is probably the best thing to do long term. Maybe, you get a little bonus from work while prices are down. Maybe you throw a few extra bucks in there.
Yeah.
Time in the market is better than timing the market. I 100% agree with you.
I agree too. It's just, it's better off, I think, especially when you're so low to the bottom of the market too. Yeah. Sure, you might take a hit in the next few months, but at the end of the day, if you're just bullish long term, I think you'll be doing okay.
Yeah, if you're a believer long term, I think the downside risk from where we're at in regards to your streaming schedule on YouTube. Oh, gotcha. So we are on. Sorry about that. So we do the show every Friday at this time. We do interviews sporadically throughout the week. My regular co-host Dan Vondelok, who's on vacation. He and I also do a show on Tuesday. So we do 2 market shows, Tuesdays and Fridays. Next week, we have an interview with one of the team members from Deadheads, trying to get some other projects to come on. I think right now is a really good time to get to know some of the different people in the community who are trying to build cool stuff right now. So Strictly Sports, thank you very much for watching today and asking some good questions. I always appreciate when we have comments on the show, and preferably when they're not making fun of me. So I really appreciate that today. So I think this is where we're going to wrap for today's show. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Once again, please like today's episode, subscribe to our channel, head to FLOLiO.com for all of your NFT market needs. We'll be back next week for more NFT and crypto content. So for Kevin, for the team at FLOLiO, I am Jeremy. Have a great weekend, everybody. We will see you next time.
Thanks.